Hey everyone, it's Nathan Orenstein from The No Show here to talk about James Gray's Ad Astra. Ad Astra stars Brad Pitt and is written by James Gray and Ethan Gross. It's only been a couple of weeks since this film came out, and the response is already incredibly divided. For the most part, the general audience seems to be disappointed, citing it as boring, slow, and even melodramatic. Critics, on the other hand, for the most part, seem to be loving it. And I'll say this right up front. Ad Astra is currently my favorite movie of 2019. That being said, I do understand where Ad Astra comes up short for so many people. Ad Astra is by no means an exciting film. This isn't the thrilling space adventure that many seem to expect going in. On the other hand, Ad Astra is very quiet, and I mean that in both a figurative and literal sense. Figuratively, I'm referring to the deeply personal nature of Ad Astra. This is a film that I definitely recommend going in blind for, so I'll keep it fairly simple. Brad Pitt plays Roy McBride, an elite astronaut who finds out that his deceased father might not actually be dead after all. At first, Ad Astra disguises itself as a fairly typical sci-fi story. Roy McBride must go into space to discover if his long-lost father, arguably the most important astronaut in recent history, is really dead after all. There's even a Save the Universe plot going on here. But it's all to hide the truth of the film's nature. Ad Astra is very much a character study about a man struggling with emotions in a profession where not only is that frowned upon, but it's prohibited. Brad Pitt's performance is subtle, yet extremely powerful. Watching him trying to contain and suppress his emotions is incredibly hard to watch, and it allows the audience members to really empathize with his character. Brad Pitt pulls off this emotional limbo perfectly, and the loneliness of his situation is palpable, making it nearly impossible not to feel for the guy. For fear of spoiling anything, I'll leave it at that for now. And now I want to look at the more literal sense of the quietness that I earlier described. And when I say the film is literally quiet, I'm referring to every aspect of the production design. At a most general level, I'm talking about the world. The world of Ad Astra is lived in. It feels incredibly real, despite it being a science fiction film. The film prefaces itself by having the words "in the near future" appear on screen at the very beginning. And this might be the first time that sentiment actually holds true throughout the entire film. There are commercial flights to the moon. There's even land disputes over which countries own which property on the moon. Mars is government regulated to a T, and there are even people there who have grown up knowing nothing else but the barren red planet. This world doesn't feel like it was created for a Hollywood movie. Even down to the smallest details, the world of Ad Astra feels very much like the world we know today. It just happens to be slightly more advanced. With such a realistic and engrossing world, it's no wonder that Ad Astra pulls off its believability almost flawlessly, allowing the audience to truly become invested in this world. The world is so lived in and real, even down to the smallest details. And this is where Ad Astra really shines. The ability for the audience to connect so easily to this story and to this science fiction universe allows the emotional story to thrive even more. When you start to take a closer look at Ad Astra, it impresses even more with its quiet beauty. As with most science fiction films concerning space travel, the outer space visuals are gorgeous. But that isn't what I want to talk about here. Specifically, I want to talk about the color palette. The use of whites, grays, bronzes, and other mellow characters consistently gives Ad Astra more personality, while simultaneously sucking it away. By this I mean the color palette provokes a sense of loneliness and desperation, two themes that are consistently holding up the story of Ad Astra. It's almost subliminal at times, but it matches the atmosphere of the film perfectly. The same can be said for sound design, which is just as effective in its own right. The audio has a sort of sci-fi vibe to it, but not in a typical gimmicky way that you might see in any other space movie. It's muddled at times, but in all the right ways, and it serves as a sort of vacuum to kind of take away any excessive loudness that might be happening from the events on screen. The score operates in a similar sense, and it only finally crescendos in the closing moments of the film. As much as I want to say that everything about Ad Astra is perfect, it just barely comes shy of that mark. I have two main gripes with the film, both concerning the screenplay. The first is more of a personal concern, which I say cautiously because it's not really even a problem. I wish the ending were cut maybe 5 to 10 minutes short. And this isn't because of problems with the runtime. It's more, I wish things ended in a different way. I don't want to say anything else for fear of spoiling anything, so I'll just leave it at that. The second gripe is unfortunately a bit more substantial though. There are a few Hollywoodisms here that really add nothing to the film other than to inject a little more energy, I suppose. They feel like attempts to satisfy the people who came expecting a more exciting film, but really they have no bearing on the plot whatsoever. Most importantly though, these scenes feel out of place and they almost take away from the realism that the rest of the film so painstakingly creates. Despite these flaws, Ad Astra is still amazing, and I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. I understand why people are walking away disappointed, and to that I'd say to adjust your expectations accordingly. This isn't the huge Hollywood blockbuster you might have been expecting. Instead, it's a very personal film that revels in its quiet perfections, an incredible performance by Brad Pitt that's genuinely Oscar-worthy. If you liked the review, then go ahead and like and subscribe. And if you've seen Ad Astra already, I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. This has been Nathan Orenstein with The No Show. Thanks for watching.